I was paying for everything. The day they called me pathetic for it, I pulled the plug on all of it. My family's financial situation collapsed the year my career finally started generating real income. My father had made a sequence of business decisions that were optimistic right up until the moment of impact. The house my parents had lived in for over 2 decades went into foreclosure. My brother Theo, midway through a degree he had been taking at a leisurely pace, suddenly had no housing and a very specific expression on his face, the look of someone realizing consequences are real and have arrived. I stepped in. I covered my parents' rent directly with the landlord every first of the month without fail. I paid Theo's remaining tuition in a lump sum. I sent my mother a monthly transfer for groceries and utilities. I absorbed these costs the way you absorb a recurring ache by building your life carefully around the space they occupy. What I failed to anticipate was how quickly financial rescue gets reframed as financial obligation. Within 4 months, the relief in my mother's voice had become expectation. Within 6, Theo was suggesting I cover his car insurance since I was already covering everything else. Within 14, my father was telling a neighbor that the rent payments were the least I could do given everything they had sacrificed raising me. I recalibrated each time. I told myself financial stress does things to people. I was very generous in my interpretations. I was, in retrospect, using generosity as a substitute for boundaries. The breaking point came on a Tuesday evening in November. I had driven over after a 12-hour workday to help my father set up a new laptop because the third call had suggested a fourth was coming. I hadn't eaten. I was tired in the specific way that accumulates when you've been maintaining other people's lives alongside your own for nearly 3 years. At some point, I made a mild comment about hoping he might try the tech support line before calling me, since my days had been long. My father looked at me with an expression I had never seen directed my way. Then he said I had always thought money made me better than the people who raised me. He said the help I provided was the bare minimum expected of a child given every advantage. He said, with a steadiness suggesting he had rehearsed it, that I was pathetic for needing to be thanked for what family simply does. My mother, from the kitchen doorway, said nothing. I finished setting up the laptop. I put on my coat. I said goodnight in a tone I kept very level. I sat in my car in their parking lot for 20 minutes. I was not crying. I was deciding. I called my bank the next morning and canceled the rent transfer. I messaged my mother that the grocery transfer was ending. I called Theo and told him in under 4 minutes that I was no longer covering anything going forward. I did not deliver a speech. I simply stopped. The calls came within 72 hours. My mother initially gentle, then less so. Theo cycling through confused and accusatory within a single voicemail. My father sent 3 sentences containing the phrase "after everything we did for you," which I read once, set my phone down, and made myself dinner. I have not spoken to my father since that Tuesday. That was 14 months ago. My mother and I have had 2 brief civil exchanges, both of which she ended when it became clear I wasn't reversing course. Theo and I managed polite messages at a mutual friend's wedding. It was fine in the way things are fine, when both people have quietly accepted new parameters. My savings account is growing at a rate that would have been impossible when I was subsidizing 3 other lives alongside my own. Last summer, I took a trip I had been postponing for 2 years. I went alone. Every single thing I did because I wanted to. I brought back nothing for anyone. It was the best packing decision I have ever made.